Hi, I'm Robert Williamson. I'm the Director of Missions with the Edgefield Baptist Association. We'd like to share some information with you to help you understand how the association is relevant to churches today. It began right here when I came to be the Director of Missions for the Edgefield Baptist Association in this chair, as I would pray to ask God how to lead this association of churches to be able to come together in a way to do mission work. Now, one of the criteria that I was working with is understanding that our churches are doing some good mission work. This one over here and that one over there, but it just seemed like we weren't coming together as an association of churches to do work. And as I kept praying about this and praying about this, it wasn't too long before God led me to Acts 1:8. And that kept resounding in my heart. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. And from that, I felt that God was saying, begin the mission work right here. Our own Jerusalem, if you would, Edgefield Association and the outlying areas. And I felt like God was leading us in such a way to do construction and ministry projects in order to open the door to be able to talk to people about Jesus and lead some to Jesus and pray with others, but meeting a need in their life to let them know that we love them and Jesus loves them more especially. And so we began with churches changing communities, which seemed to be a big hit. In fact, the Missions Development Committee came back to me to say, let's not do this every 4 years, but let's do this one every year.
Well, we started CCC, this is the 4th year, and churches changing communities. And it is carpentry work. We do a lot of repair work for different families in need throughout our association and farther. We work some in the edge of Aiken County, we work some in the edge of Saluda County, and for different people that need help. And it's not just the construction crews that do all of the witnessing and the work for the Lord. It's for the teenagers, the children, the ladies, everybody works in this organization to get it to click, and it takes everybody. We probably got 200 people working out in the field and behind the scenes, and somebody's getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning preparing breakfast, somebody's making sure that they have lunches for during the daytime, and somebody making sure we have suppers at night. And this is a coordinated effort, and it has been working real well. We're witnessing for the Lord, but those people that we work for are also witnessing to us. We get just as much out of it in most cases as they do by seeing them being so thankful and somebody coming and helping me. We have one lady that we work for that this was the first year, and a guy donated us a mobile home, and we were able to repair what needed repairing in this mobile home and swap it out for her old one that was not repairable. And she called the association office, she called Mr. Robert, and she called myself, and she tells us to be sure and tell all your people that I pray for you every day. And she does. And she says, be sure and tell the teenagers and the children. They went and they worked for her 3, 4, 5 days, and she is just so appreciative and so thankful that we were able to help her, and that the Lord blessed her so much. And she tells us all the time, God is good to all of us. And she said, I pray for y'all and the work that y'all do.
As we move away from our local area of mission work, I began to see that God was leading us to be able to help other associations who have needs. And as we have already reached out to 2 associations, they had camps where they had specific ministries at those camps, but they needed some construction work, and we also did some ministry in these associations as well to help them to facilitate being able to relaunch some of those ministries that they were able to do in those areas. And so we began doing associations aiding associations.
Association, you know, we have gone down and put shingles on the campsite from other churches. So, you know, I think churches, helping other churches, the smaller churches, is something that we do. And they had a fishing camp like down in the lower part of the state, and down below Aiken, somewhere down in there. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was down below Aiken. But we went down there and a group of us helped put shingles on a couple of outhouses and just do a little repair work for them.
Well, I was introduced to it by, as soon as I became pastor at Mountain Creek. And Dr. Williamson had a relationship with a director of missions for the Baldwin-Bamberg Association. And, of course, I think, from what I gathered, there was a lot of men from the association, brotherhood men, and all that went down and did some work at their actual association office, which I think was in Denmark. And myself and Jackie Ridings and Bo Parkman and Dan McVeigh went down to their association camp, which is in the country out there where you pipe in the sunshine. And basically what we did was just we re-roofed the pump house and re-roofed a little porch over their dining hall area.
God led me to lead this association to partner with the Lexington Baptist Association for the North American Mission Board work, as well as the Intercontinental or International Mission Board work.
Woodland Hills Baptist Church, you know, that was a huge megachurch, I guess, at one time. It's dwindled down to very few members, and the church pastor saw a need in the Atlanta area to create some like dormitory facilities for missionaries that come into the area. And we went up and tore out some, you know, walls and restructured walls, and we mainly worked on the restrooms. The Sunday school facilities was a 3-story building, which is a pretty good sized building. And they, like I said, they converted it to a dormitory type place for missionaries that come into the Atlanta area, because around 285 inside that perimeter, there's so many Baptist churches that's, you know, gone under. They're trying to emphasize, you know, the mission work in that area is a real need for it in that particular area.
I think there was about 12 people in total, and a lot of people went up twice. And then the first group went to tear down stuff, walls and stuff. We had to wear masks as all the dust and dirt and everything else. We had to haul stuff down the hallway and throw it out the 3rd-story window. And we had to build walls, partition walls out of wood. And Bubba Wells from, I think he's from Plum Branch, he was an expert in putting in walls. Those walls will never come down because he put more nails than you ever have to put in a wall. So the whole building will fall down, but those walls will be intact. And then we built, and let's see, the second group, when we went up there, again, some of the people were from the first group went again. And let's see, I think we had 8 then. Had John Noblin, we had Robert Williamson was there. And then when we did that, we did sheetrock and some stalls and things for the showers and all that.
And then with our International Mission Board work, one of our pastors, Reverend Steve Carton, is leading a group of people to London, to adopt London, in hopes one day of planting a church over there, but at the same time with this partnership realizing that is a hard mission work, a hard area to break into the hearts of people. And one of the things that this group is going over to do is to be able to break open some of those hearts, to be able to plant some seed, to water some seed, and to begin to see where that seed will grow and God produce the fruit in the later years.
Well, the Adopt London trip is part of an International Mission Board initiative with a lot of states involved, but our state convention has been involved. And so we're trying to get local churches and associations to go and actually to build relationships with people in London or in that area. And so what we're doing is we're taking a small group of folks over there to intentionally meet some folks and get to know them, continue those relationships through some business exchanges, but also through some social media, Facebook and email and those kind of things, and hopefully to continue going back, maybe not with the same group of people, but to continue going back and building those relationships and looking for an opportunity to share Christ through those.
In addition to the mission work that Dr. Williamson has already mentioned, the Edgefield Baptist Association is involved in many other areas of mission work. One of these areas is the men's ministry.
Well, men's ministry, we have a handicap ramp ministry. We have a prison ministry at Trinity Correctional Institute. We have a ministry to the John Delahow Wilderness Program. We have a ministry to Connie Maxwell Children's Home, where we bring both of those institutions down and we take the children hunting. We have bow shooting, archery shootings for them, and I just feel like that the support that we have gotten from the association has enabled us to do all of these things. I am so proud of, not proud, I would say proud. I'm so thankful that other associations have come in and they have worked with us and observed what we're doing, and now I learned just last week they are going to put in some of the programs that we're doing, and very possible that the things that the Edgefield Baptist Association are doing could go statewide, and I'm just thankful for that.
Another missions group in the Edgefield Baptist Association is the Women's Missionary Union.
WMU exists in our Edgefield Association churches to be radically involved in the mission of God. To be Christ's voice is the vision and the purpose of WMU. And one of the things that some people don't understand is even though Women's Missionary Union has women's in the name, in the title of what we do, it's an organization for men, women, children, teenagers. It's multi-task. And we, across the board, all throughout the Southern Baptist Convention, are the ones that highlight our missions through magazines, through organizations, through our weeks of prayer. We sponsor the Annie Armstrong Easter offering that goes to our North American Mission Board, not used for any overhead. This is strictly money that goes to missions. The same is true for the Lottie Moon Christmas offering. The offering that we give at Christmas time goes strictly to missions, not mission support, meaning none of the overhead. This money goes straight to the missionaries for their uses and for their support and for their resources. The same is true for our state mission offering, which is the Janie Chapman offering.
The association is also involved in a Hispanic ministry.
We started that Hispanic ministry approximately 10 to 12 years ago, and we carried it along for that length of time. Then it got to the point that it had gotten almost too big for just the men's ministry. So what we did, we asked the association to come in and help us, and now there is a church plant, and there will, in the next few years, be a functioning Hispanic church in Edgefield County. We see the effect of the Hispanic ministry, and we wonder sometimes what effect it's having on the Hispanics. But in August, one of the guys had left going back to Mexico, and he was on a bus, and he got on his cell phone and called back to one of the guys who was actually in the church, and this guy put him on his speakerphone, and the interpreter interpreted what he was saying, and basically what he said was, "Thank you, we appreciate so much what you all are doing, and I'm going back to Mexico, and I'm going to take this message."
We have a good many ladies and men who have participated in this. As an individual, it was frustrating to me. I would go to the services. I couldn't understand what they were saying, and that made me understand that they couldn't understand what I was saying, most of them. And when we would leave the preaching part and go into the meal, we could sit down with them, but we could not converse with them. I remember saying, "My name is Carol. What is your name?" And I just got a blank look back from the person that I was talking to, the migrant that I was talking to. And so I talked with Jackie and Robert, and I said, maybe we need to start English as a second language classes and do this after they have their meal on Sunday night. That means we don't have a very long time with them, but we initiated this effort last year. It met tremendous success. We were enthusiastic. The migrants were enthusiastic. They participated wholeheartedly, and by the end of the season, we had 5 commit their lives to Christ.
A final group that will now be highlighted is the Edgefield Baptist Association's prayer team.
By being part of the prayer team, it's made me aware that we have 20-something churches, and they all need prayer. And so we're spending time praying for every church, every pastor, every mission effort, and it's just one more source of the churches being lifted up. We also are doing things like prayer walks around churches, and the ones we've not gotten to yet, we will be doing this summer. So if a church hasn't seen us yet, that does not mean we're not coming. We're coming. We also are doing prayer drives, like during CCC. We'll be driving from each location and praying over that. So it just makes a lot more prayer go into each effort.
Through all of these ministries, we can see the impact of the Edgefield Baptist Association. Through mission work, the association provides services for people locally and around the world. However, the recipients of the mission work are not the only ones impacted by the association. Let's now take a look at how the churches in the EBA benefit from being a part of the association.
I think where the churches gain some strength also in coming together, each one of our churches have needs. I feel very strongly as a director of missions to be able to offer support to the pastors, to the staff, my wife alongside of me and working with pastor staff's wives. In fact, she has led Bible studies for our pastors' wives and staff wives. And pastors know that I am readily available to them with a phone call or a visit. I feel that they need encouragement, and I am here to provide that encouragement. But at the same time, the help for each of the churches. Each one is unique in the needs that they have, but sitting in this seat as a director of missions, I feel like God is giving us some resources to funnel back into the churches to help strengthen them in different ways. For example, when a church becomes pastorless, one of the things that I can do is help with supply, either myself or some names that I know, people who are very good quality individuals who can provide supply preaching for the churches, leading the pastor search committees and training them, not getting in the way of their work, but leading them in their work and in that process of finding who God has already chosen and ordained for that church, for them to seek and find God's choice and bring that person to the church. So training the pastor search committees, other types of training that I've been involved in directly is Sunday school training, deacon training. I've helped in getting evangelism training or stewardship training to various churches as well. One of the workshops that I lead is a conflict resolution workshop. And I know some people will say, you know, we don't have conflict in this church, but it would surprise you, every church does have conflict at least at some level. And to deal with that at the lowest possible levels is the best time to deal with that. And so in resolving conflict, one of the workshops that I can bring to the churches is to help them to know how to keep these conflicts at a lower level instead of escalating to a point where churches split or fire pastors or get rid of other staff or any number of things like that. More on the positive note again, I've led some pastors in some Thrive training to help them as a leader in a church to take a process to grow the church together, to see themselves as a missional unit who are called to make disciples of all nations. I've led in champs where I'll help a church to assess their health, and then to wherever their health is found to be, to see what they need to do to move to a higher health level. And so some of those things, I just feel like God is facilitating the association to always reach back to the church and strengthen the church. And so we have various numbers of ministries and mission work and training type things like that. I think Wayne Miller may have counted over 20 different types of ministries or trainings that are going on in order to strengthen the churches in this association. I think one of the things that churches need to understand is that in some denominations there's more of a top-down structure, so that an individual at some office or entity is at the top, and there may be some different levels in between, with each of the churches identified at the bottom. And so there's a top-down hierarchy going on here. But in the Southern Baptist Convention, you need to invert that triangle and begin to understand that each one of our Southern Baptist autonomous churches are at the top. They have different needs, they have different desires, they're working at different paces, and from the individual church, you would have an area in here for associations, an area in here for state conventions, and then you would have the national convention, the Southern Baptist Convention. And so you can see where each of the churches then, because they are autonomous, they're the ones who are in charge. All of these entities below are entities that are supporting each of the churches. And one of the reasons why the association is so important, it is the closest entity to the churches. So as an association of churches, and when you're talking about the association office is very familiar with each of the churches and each of the churches' needs, desires to move out in a way to glorify God. And so we can help the churches to move out in that way better actually than other entities. But yet all of us are here to support the church, the individuals of local congregations.
I think the association helps all the churches, big and small, helps them equally. There is no prioritization. They work to help everyone in Edgefield.
The reason is it brings the churches together. It forms a body of churches, and an individual can be so strong, but a group of individuals can be much stronger. And I think that's the importance of the association. It puts us together, forms a body, and it makes our strength.
It's doing a good job for the children. It gives them like a summer camp, because come in and stay at the churches that provide showers and meals and all for them. And I think most of them enjoy getting out and doing work.
Well, I think we have grown tremendously since the new building was completed, and since Reverend Robert Williamson come on board, and Miss Jackie Riding and Faye and all of the workers that are involved closely with the office itself. We have grown so much throughout our association and our community that it's just unbelievable. And our mission, we have touched, not just through CCC, but we have touched many families that I don't think would have been possible if we had not gone on and completed the building and hired Robert as our coordinator, as our mission director. I just don't think that we would be where we are today. I think it's really been a blessing and a really a ministry to our association by having what we have now. And Robert is a great part of it, that's for sure.
I think the disaster training has brought in some churches. And, you know, I think it's exactly the kind of thing. The building of the building did. The building of the building brought in people who had not known each other and yet became partners.
And I think when the more folks are involved, the more folks are giving to not just their churches, and not just giving financially, giving themselves, giving their time, giving their energies, their enthusiasm. They're involved in giving to the cooperative program and to sending folks around the world through International Mission Board and the North American Mission Board. So, and I just think it's a great way to round out our service to the Lord. And I'm proud that we have a great association.
Well, first of all, just the fellowship with other churches and the fellowship of pastors. Early on, when we didn't have that much going on in the association, we used to have a monthly meeting of pastors and wives in some pastor's home. They would provide a meal, and we'd get together for fellowship. And fellowship is very important for pastors, especially in rural areas where everybody, you just feel like you're right here by yourself, and you can support one another. And the same way with churches. Get together and realize, joint projects such as I guess the migrant ministry is one of the things that's really brought this association together. Because you can do so much together that you can't do by yourself. Just like a piece of cloth, it's made up of a lot of threads. But you can take one of those threads and pop it. But you can't take the cloth of your shirt and pop it that easily with your hands. Something about, working together. And I think that's, of course, your purpose of the association is to promote activity in the churches, to promote the different programs in the churches, and then, of course, to carry out the Great Commission, which involves missions in here, there, and throughout the world. I think it's wonderful to have seen what's happened to the association in the last about 35 years.
Well, the churches come together as one unit in the association, and we are able to do ministries that one church would not be able to do by itself. We have a lot of churches in Edgefield Association that are small churches, and these churches can come in together and combine and do tremendous ministries. I believe that the Edgefield Baptist Association is carrying out the command in Matthew 28, 19, and 20, where Jesus said, go into all the world and take the gospel. And I believe we're carrying that out. And the fact that other associations are coming in, observing and working with us, tells me that we're doing something that is for the kingdom.
I certainly hope that you have enjoyed hearing from some different people. There are many other people in the association you could have also heard from. I'd like to share, just in closing, a couple of quick comments. In the Baptist history of the association, we find that the earliest beginnings of an association was that it's an organization through which churches could fellowship and give assistance to one another. That it also must be theologically and historically based, be purpose-driven, be contextually relevant, be congregationally focused and service-oriented, and be uniquely positioned as the closest Baptist body to the local church. And in addition to the purpose of the Baptist associations, we find that the principle is that it's churches working together in order to do what one church cannot do alone. And the passion is the love of God in reaching a world that needs the gospel. I pray that you are seeing that in the Edgefield Baptist Association. We have a lot of wonderful people here who are prayerful, who are God-focused, and I pray that you will continue to be prayerful and God-focused for your association as well. Please let us know if there's anything that we can do for you in service to your church to make your church a stronger church that glorifies God.